How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today I've got my wife's 2022 Mazda Cx5 in the garage. I know a few of you wanted to see a bit more Cx5 content, so not massive works going on today, but the car's due a service, and as part of that it was also flagged on the MOT that it needed new front brake pads. So today's video, I'm not going to go into all of the oil change and everything like that because I've got another video for that of how to service the car. So go and check my channel out and you can have a look at that. So today's video is just solely going to concentrate on doing the front brake pads, and I'll show you how to do it. So stick around and we'll get it done. So first things first, get the car jacked up. As I say in all my videos, I'm not going to show you how to jack your car up. You should know how to do that. Otherwise, doing the job's not really for you. That's the most safety aspect part of the job. Get it jacked up, get some stands underneath it, and then we'll get the wheels off. Oh, that's that one off. Always good practice, stick the wheel underneath the car as well, just as an extra fail safe in case the car ever did drop, and if you're underneath it you're not going to get squashed. Right, so we need to lift the bonnet up and undo the brake master cylinder, because when we retract the piston in the brake, the fluid is going to rise up. So just undo that and set it to one side. Give you a little look in the engine bay just to show you. So there's the brake master cylinder there. Just take the cap off. You can rest it on top if you like, but it's just so that it's not on when the fluid comes back up when you compress the piston. I'll take you down and have a look at the, let's get a light, I'll take you down and have a look at the brakes. So here's the brake setup. The discs on this are okay, there's no lip on them, but the pads are very low. So they need doing. That's the one thing with Mazda CX5s, they're an absolutely brilliant car, but one of their downfalls is that they absolutely eat through brakes. I don't know whether that's just because they're a heavy car, but I've got two CX5s, a 2016 model and this one, and they're both exactly the same. They do eat through brakes. Doesn't seem to matter what type of brake pads that you get. I've tried all different makes. Doesn't really seem to make a difference. You're probably only looking at I don't know, maybe a year and a half, 2 years out of your pads, to be honest. So yeah, keep that in mind if you're thinking about buying a CX5. I've done quite a lot of brake jobs on them now, so I'm quite used to it. Right, that's the setup of the caliper. Usual state of affairs. And because we're only changing the pads, we haven't got to remove all the disc and everything. So let's get set up and get this caliper up and get new pads in it. Okay, so the first job is we're going to undo the caliper pin bolts. These are a size 14. So take them out and then your caliper will lift out. And caliper just slides off then. I'll just pop that up there a minute. Okay. So I've just rested that up there for a minute, the caliper. You can use a bungee cord and hook it up onto your spring if need be. So that's having a look at the caliper off from behind and front. So that's the pads in there, so we need to remove them, and then we need to give it a good clean up inside the carrier. And the pins at the top here, your sliders, if they're not moving, obviously they need re-greasing. I'll do that just as a matter of course. While it's apart, you may as well do it. So let's get these old pads out. Alright, so to get the pads out, just lever them off the disc. And we'll just slide out. So there's one, and the rear one. There's the rear one. So let's have a look at the life on them. They're pretty thin. They're still, they're still easily passing MOT, but they are getting quite low, particularly on the inboard one against the calipers piston. So a little bit more meat on that, but there's probably still maybe another 6 months worth of driving on them, to be honest. But the MOT guy flagged it, so we're going to change them. So the new pads I'm using, let's get them out, make sure they're okay, and offer them up against the old ones. Yep, they look good. So there's the new pad with the meat on it. You can see a lot chunkier, a lot more meat on it in comparison to the old one now. Two side by side. So the pads I've got just from Eurocarparts, Eichers. They're only their budget ones. I have fit them before, they're okay. They do also come with a new packet of the wear indicators. They're harmonic indicators on this, so they make a noise when your pads are low. A little clip rubs against the disc, makes a noise, tells you that your pads are low. Right, next stage we're going to do is we are going to clean up. We're going to clean up the carrier. So you've got clips. I'll take you in to see. So these clips that I'm pointing to here that hold the pads in, they need a good wire brush up. Clean them, and then add some of your brake grease. So the brake grease I use is Permatex Ultra Brake Parts lubricant. Okay, so in the old days, people used to use copper slip. I've said before in my other videos, copper slip isn't a problem. You can use it, but it has got a tendency that, higher heats, it can bake, which therefore could end up, leaving you sticky brakes. So things move on, products get better, and that is the proper grease that you should use. You can also use dielectric grease as well. Okay, so we'll clean these, put some of that grease in there, a little bit on the ends of the pads. There's little lugs there, a little bit on there as well, so that when they're inside they can move freely. Okay, so that's the next stage. I'm going to clean them up, and then I'll show you about how to fit the pads. So on the old pads, they also have shims on the back, and there's the old clip. So when you get your new pad, you need to fit the new clip onto the top there. It literally just pushes on. You can't really go wrong. Hopefully you can see that. It just pushes onto there, and then the actual pads on the back have got these shims that go on the back. They help in the aid of stopping sort of brake squeal. On the back of this, you can see on the old shim there, that round mark, that's where the piston from the caliper makes contact and pushes the pad against the disc. So what I'm going to do on this is I'm going to add some of the Permatex grease to the back of the pad on the shim, That then will help as well as the shim, help reduce any brake squeal or brake noise. Okay, so that's just a little tip for you with that. Make sure you put them shims on the pads. Some pads that you buy, if you buy real good quality ones, they may actually, or genuine Mazda ones, they may actually come in the box with brand new shims, but I have to use the old hardware with these because, like I say, they're just budget pads. All right. So grab your wire brush, clean out those little clips. Right, so what I'm also going to do now is I'm going to take the slider pins out. To take them out, these are pretty decent anyway and greased, but I'm going to clean them off and add a little bit more on. So clean the slider pins and then take your grease of choice. Like I say, I use the Permatex. Put a little bit of that on. You don't need too much of this, so literally just a thin smear, because otherwise you can go the opposite and clag it down so it sticks. So you only need a thin smear, okay? So don't go too mad with this stuff. So that's what I've done now. Nice thin smear. A little bit on the end. And that's enough, okay? So that can be popped back inside the carrier, which just pops in, push it, and you can see nice and easy, nice and moving free. Okay, that's the top one. Do the same for the bottom one as well, so pull that out, as you can see. Again, the cars are 2022, so I imagine these are probably the only brakes that have been changed on it, to be fair. These are probably the original set of pads, I'm guessing, because the car's done low mileage as well, so these are actually in pretty decent condition. So again, clean it off, get all the old stuff off, and then apply a nice new layer of the Permatex. Thin layer all over. And a little rubber bit at the end as well. Okay, once that's suitably covered, pop that one back in as well. Push it. You hear the little snap of the rubber going back on. Okay, so they're nice and freely moving, so they're all good. Okay, so the next thing I said is with the pads, what we're going to do is take each one. I'll do the inboard one first. So the inboard one against the caliper, that's the one I always fit the clip to. Makes sense because the caliper piston is going to push against, and this is the pad that's more so going to hit the contact surface of the disc, and therefore that's where you want your clip, so that when it wears down and reaches this point on the pad where there's not a lot of meat left, it's then going to make the noise against the disc. Okay, if you have it on the outboard pad here, it won't be as effective because your inner pad is always going to wear slightly more than your outboard pad, so always fit that on that one. Okay, so as I said, a little bit of grease just on the lugs here so it moves in and out, and you can put a little bit on there as well. So I'll do that now. Get some Permatex. I'm going to put this on my finger just to make it a little bit more accurate. So a little bit of that in there just so that the pads move freely. on both sides, top and bottom. On this side. You know, doing these jobs yourself is good, because when you take your car into some of these main dealerships, little things like this they don't do, or they'll skip, or they won't grease the back of the pads, they'll just rely on the clips. So, you know, a bit on the back there where the caliper meets the pad, and then on the lugs, as I said, just there. So don't get any of this on your actual pad material, only on the back and on the lugs, okay? So just make sure when you're fitting them that's what you do, okay? So to fit the pads, they are simply just going to slot back in the way that you pulled them out, okay? You'll see better on this one. So the clip on the inboard one is going to go inside like that, okay? So as you can see, that's the first one popped in, easy as that. Okay, so now we're going to do the same again with the new outboard pad. So a little bit of grease on that. We can do that actually when it's fitted on the car to make it easier. So take the pad, okay, clip it into the top first, as such, and then the bottom will just slide in too, yeah? So as you can see, that's fitted on. Take your grease, your Permatex, a little bit on the back here as well, just where the caliper is going to sit over the top, and then that way, again, it just help with any squealing or brake noise. Right, so that's the new pads fitted, as you can see. Let's bring you in. Right, so that's the new pads fitted. Okay, I'll take you around the back if I can, show you the back one. Okay, so you clip up the top, the wear indicator. Okay, so they're both in. The next job is the caliper. So you have to apologise, mate. I apologise for the light, it's not great. It's very hard trying to pick this up. Right, so here's the caliper. As you can see, at the minute, the piston, let's bring the light up here, the piston is out from the old pad. So what we're going to need to do is clean that up. Just use your wire brush, just be careful obviously with a rubber boot. Give it a clean up inside in the caliper. And then we need to retract that piston back inside the body of the caliper, okay? So to do that, I'll show you that in a sec once I've cleaned it up. So let's clean it up first, get that done. So wire brush inside here. If you've got any brake cleaner, it's always good as well to give it a squirt, just to help clean it. So you can clean all the inside of the caliper, around your piston, around your rubber boot, so that no debris goes in. Just give it a clean inside. And as I say, this should hopefully push back quite easy, this piston, because it's not a very old car. So once that's cleaned up, piston white from the rubber boot. Make sure there's nothing there that's going to rip the boot as you're pushing it back, any debris. Okay, so that caliper is clean and it's ready to be pushed back. Okay, so There's various ways to push this back, the piston. Okay, it needs compressing. Okay, so you can get the special tools for it. I've got one I'll show you in a minute, a ratchet type. Or if you're stuck and you're struggling with it, you can just take an old brake pad, press it into there. Sometimes if they're easy enough to press, you can push against it and it'll push it back. If it isn't, then you'll need a tool to push it back. So we're going to do that next. So this is the tool I'm using, the ratchet type, which obviously has got two plates. One pushes against the piston, the other one locks against the caliper, and then you just ratchet it as such like that, which in turn pushes that piston back into its housing. Okay, so I think I'm near enough there actually. Okay, so do that till it goes right in. Which I believe I'm there now. So take that out. I'll bring you in so you can see. Okay, so as you can see, that's wound right back in now. So if you haven't got one of them special tools, do as I said, and you can get one of the old pads, as I said, rest it in against. You get something like a long screwdriver, push against it, or if you've got a G clamp. So if you've got a G clamp, you can put a pad in there, put the clamp on the back of the caliper, the other side, this side, tighten it up, and then it'll pull it back in. But as long as the caliper's in good condition, these pistons are not that hard to retract. I have actually, like I say, just pushed them back before with the old pad there. So if it's stiff to go back or you can't push it back, it means your caliper's seized and you're either going to have to replace the piston rebuilding the caliper, or my advice would be just to get a brand new caliper. They normally do like a part exchange, like a surcharge. You give them your old caliper, you get the new caliper, job done. All right, so that's pushed back. All we've got to do now is simply fit that back on top. Okay, so take your caliper, okay, and then you're going to line it up over the top. Take your bolts, get them lined up, threaded in. And the bottom one. Tighten them back up. These don't have to be mega tight, so don't go going crazy on them. As long as they're tight, that's it. Make sure. Yep. Yep. Right, so that's that all put back together. Okay. So yeah, there you go, all put back together. Okay, so it should look like that when it's done. Bolts back in. And then the next thing you need to do is the other side. Okay, so once you've done the other side as well, obviously come back up to your brake fluid master, check the level of it. That's now risen, so it was down quite low. You can see the line there of fluid. So it's risen up, so by the time I press the other piston back in, that fluid's going to rise right up to the max mark where it should be. Okay, so that's all there is to doing the brake pads. I've got to do the same the other side, but as I say, I'm not going to film that as well. I'll film just that side just to show you how to do it. It's exactly the same on the other side. Job's a good one. I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. It was only a quick one, but I thought it'd be useful for you guys that want to give, you know, changing the brakes a go yourself at home. Simple job, you know, very easy to do. If you take that into a garage, you know, you're going to be paying a fair bit of money for that, and you know, it's very, very quick to do. Obviously, it took me longer because I'm filming it and showing you guys how to do it, but realistically, each side, if you're just changing the pads, you'll have it done probably 20 minutes tops, and that's, you know, cleaning everything, being thorough, making sure it's all nice and clean and free moving and everything's greased up. Okay, so hope that helps you guys out. If you enjoy the CX5 content, have a look on my channel. I have got a few other videos on there as well, full service video on there. So that's oil change, spark plugs, which on these you need to do every 60,000 miles. The air filter, oil filter, and also the interior cabin filter. That's often left out. People don't do it. So if you want to have a look at that video as well, go check it out. If you wanted to know, and you're in the UK, what the part number is for the brake pads that I've used in this video, they're IHAs, and that's the part number right there. Like I say, they're only budget pads, but they'll do. We only do town driving. You know, we do very low mileage, 6,000 miles a year at tops. So yeah, they'll do. So cheers for watching, guys. Give it a like and a thumbs up. Go check out my other videos and maybe subscribe to the channel. Catch you in the next one. Cheers, guys.